Hey girl, hey. Yeah. Woo, woo. Hey girl, hey. Woo, let's go. Hey girl, hey. Yeah. Woo, woo. Hey girl, hey. Let's go.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey girl, hey, welcome to the Hey Girl, Hey podcast, and I'm your host, Kim Miller. Thank you for tuning in to episode 34. I hope everyone had a great week. This episode is coming out a little later in the week, so I hope everyone had a great work week and finished out the week strong. And yeah, I'm doing well. Look who I have with me. If you are listening audio, you may hear her little baby sounds. And if you're watching the YouTube, you'll see her little butt. But I have little Aubrey here. Say hi. She might cry. If she gets too fussy, I have an escape plan for her. I'm gonna send a message to Madison or Jesse to come grab her real quick. But I wanted to have her on this week because I wanted to do a quick podcast today about just everything postpartum and my experience so far with this baby, as it relates to just getting back into the swing of things, postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, all the things that I expected to happen, I didn't expect to happen, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it would be nice to have her with me. And, you know, again, she'll probably make some baby sounds. She'll probably fuss a few times. But anywho, she is here with us. And she is very, very dramatic. So she does cry like really, really aggressively, really, really fast. And then she like goes back to normal. So don't be alarmed. She is not hurt. She is not injured. She is just being Aubrey. But I want to get right into it this week. So my Hey Girl for the week, I want to give a huge shout out to Miss Meghan Markle, the princess of the... You okay? Anyway, sorry. Back to the Hey Girl. Meghan Markle. So Meghan Markle is kind of like what made me want to do this episode. She had an interview that went pretty viral with the documentary with her and Harry going to Africa, and I haven't even got to watch the whole documentary, but the portion that I did see was her response in regards to just juggling life after having a baby, and in addition to all the other things she's going through. And it was really touching to me. It looked like she wanted to literally cry when the guy was asking her, like, is she okay? And how she was so appreciative that he even asked her, was she okay? Because so many people don't. So many people just call and, you know, how's the baby? And that's just kind of like a natural thing that people do, especially if you've never had a child, or if you're a man, or if you just never experienced that transition. But, you know, he asked a real honest question, like, are you okay? And basically her answer was like, no, I'm really not okay. And that really struck a nerve with me. So first of all, I'm getting all into my conversation, but shout out to her for being honest, for being raw. She's such a person of influence, and she's under such scrutiny, but she used that moment as an opportunity to be really honest and real. And I just want to give her my Hey Girl for the week. I don't always I normally give my Hey Girls to someone who I know personally, or at least I know of, or know a mutual friend. But I think it's important for me, at least this week, I just wanted to shine light on that, and shine light on being raw, being authentic, and being honest about, you know, where you are at every stage of your life, especially after having a baby. And so when I saw that interview, it kind of made me kind of question like my own personal state and journey this time around in regards to having a baby. And funny story, I went to, if you follow me on social media, I went to the Apple store. I had a goal this week to go to the mall. The goal was to get up, get dressed, go somewhere, me and Aubrey. And I was going to the mall, the Apple store, to get some headphones replaced. And so the guy from the Apple store, he was like, oh my God, look at your little baby. I was wearing Aubrey with the little baby wrap. And he's like, how old is she? And I'm like, she's 5 weeks. And he's like, wow, you're out here at 5 weeks. Like, how are you doing? And I was like, I really don't know how I'm doing. And he just kind of was like, oh. I was like, yeah, I really don't know. Because like in that moment, and just that day in general, like it was like everything kind of built up from that week of just like being very emotional. Like my emotions were very much so up and down. And going to the mall was just really difficult. Like getting out of the house, getting ready, getting back into like a flow of life. I don't know. It just brought up all these emotions. I like cried 2 times on the way to the mall. And it just kind of made me think like, where are you right now? Are you okay? Are you taking the appropriate time you need? Are you really processing your emotions, processing everything you're going through and feeling correctly? And I wasn't, I really, really wasn't. And so this time around has been different. And I had to really say to myself, I had to take a moment and say, listen, first of all, you had Madison 9 years ago. So you were 25 years old. So that is a huge different. Like, I'm 34 now. That is a whole, like, hello, of course it's going to be different. But I hadn't really planned for that. I really remember with Madison, literally 2 weeks after having Madison, I remember feeling back to normal. And I remember it so vividly because it was like the 2 week, it was like Madison's 2 week checkup. And I remember going to her appointment and just feeling very refreshed, feeling very like back spunky and, still physically, I'm sure I wasn't healed and ready and all that stuff. But I remember feeling back to normal, like feeling myself mentally, emotionally. And this time, 5 weeks later, I'm still very much like, I don't know, there was like an emptiness that I was feeling, and it wasn't, and I always think about postpartum depression as like you want to harm yourself or you want to harm your child. And I've never had thoughts like that. I've never had like something that was very, very dark after having a baby. And so I guess for me, I never associated my emotions with postpartum depression, but I was talking to my girlfriend, Randy. Shout out to Randy. You guys know Randy, Randy Blair. And she was saying, it looks very different for uh-oh, what you about to do? You fussing? You about to cut up? You want the pinky? It looks different for different people. So for me, I think I was experiencing a little bit of postpartum anxiety where just my emotions were very, very high strung. So like things that I normally could shake quicker, I'm not shaking this time around just yet. I have a lot of anxiety, like going out in the car. Like the first time I went in the car with Aubrey, I was like literally praying down fire the whole time because I was like scared we were going to get in an accident. I never experienced that with Madison. So, I think for me, it was like, it's just been so different. And so I'm having to kind of relearn and reteach myself like who I am at this stage of my life right now. So I'm having to completely disconnect from who I was when I had Madison. And why I did not think of this is beyond me because life is very much different now. Like I have a very set, established life, a set, established kind of flow and schedule. And so, of course, everything is going to be different. Like when I had Madison, I didn't have all those things. She was our first, so it wasn't as much to juggle. Now it's a lot of juggling. Like I still have to tend to Madison. I still have to cater to her to a certain extent. And let me just say, segue, random. This podcast will probably be like a little bit all over the place, no structure at all. But a lot of people have asked how Madison is doing, my 9-year-old, and I just want to give her like, she would be my hey girl if I didn't give it to Meghan Markle because she is doing like flawless to me with the transition. Like if there was a way to navigate being an only child for 9 years and then going into having a sibling, she would be the poster child to me. I really, really believe that. And I'm just bragging on my own kid for a second, but she loves her sister. Obviously, she's obsessed with her. Every morning she wants to hold her before school. She's good with feeding her, changing her, getting her dressed, rocking her to sleep, calming her down. But she's also very much still into her own life and her own things. So she does not overly like consume herself with the baby, which is something I didn't want because I feel like for me, my mom had a daughter when I was 10, and I feel like I kind of dove right into like mommy mode full-fledged, and I lost a bit of my like childhood in a sense. That sounds really dramatic, but it felt that way in retrospect. Like it just felt like I've been taking care and helping with kids since I was 10 years old. And so sometimes instead of like going to play outside or having like extracurricular. I was, helping with my little siblings. And I did not want to have Madison like take on too much, even without being asked, because she's that type of kid. Like she does stuff with Aubrey without even being told. But I'm glad that she has a really good balance. Like in a quick second, she will come hold the baby. And then she would say, okay, I'm putting you down because I'm about to go outside and play, or I'm about to go do arts and crafts, or I'm about to go do XYZ. And I love that about her. So she has a really good balance. I haven't noticed any, jealousy is the only word I could think of, but I haven't noticed any struggles there that she feels. I haven't felt that. We've made it a point to really still try our very best to spread our focus across for her as well. And another thing I wanted to make sure was she still stayed busy and very active. So she's in choir at her school. She's on the dance team. We're getting her back into like acting and modeling, which is something that she really wanted to do. So I just want to say she's doing great. For all the people who wonder and ask about how that transition is with a 9-year-old and a newborn, for us, it's been great. I don't know everyone's experience, and I'm sure every kid is different, but she has really done a great, great, great job with that. So I love you, Madison. I hope you hear this podcast at some point in your life, but maybe not. You probably won't hear it, but I do love you. And I tell her that all the time, that she's doing such a great job as a big sister, as well as just with the transition. So anyway, I probably lost where I was, but I think I was speaking about my after having Madison where I was. So yeah. So anyway, I'm going to get back to my story about going to the mall. But so after that, I just really had to work through like, okay, where are you? What are you ready to do? What do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do? What do you want this to look like? What does it look like? Where are your struggles? Like, I had to really evaluate the whole thing, everything, because I found that for me personally, I'm really good with like to-do lists and having like a goal and trying my best to accomplish them. I don't always accomplish the goals, but it really works for me, like having that list of things to do. So even emotionally, like I had to do that for myself. And so now I've been doing like a daily to-do list, and sometimes it's like actual things like make a phone call, take care of business. Sometimes it's very much emotional things like take a certain amount of time that day for myself and make sure you get it done. Make sure you commit to getting those things done. And sometimes it just looks like getting out of the house, like the one day I was explaining, which was really important. And so many people like connected with me saying that how like accomplished I felt doing that. And so I know most of those people have to be moms, because the struggle of just getting back to feeling like a normal human being. But I just really wanted to take like a little bit of control over it. So we understand that hormones are all over the place, and some of that you have zero control over. But for me, I think I was also getting to a place where I was kind of catering to the off balance of the hormones and like kind of feeding into that and giving into that. And as a Christian and a believer, like we don't have to give into that, even though even the science of it is a fact. Like we always hear some things may be a fact, but they're not necessarily true for you. And so that's what I had to say. Okay, like what can I control? Am I giving too much attention to negativity? Am I creating an atmosphere for positive vibes and positive energy? And I really wasn't. I really was waking up like just no structure, no goal setting, no none of that. And for me, that wasn't working. Like that was not serving me well. And I feel it was time. Like my girlfriend told me this too, and I'm thankful for people who are around me, like giving me really, really great advice and feedback, who have had kids recently and later in life. Because I think that's the big difference. Is like when you have children early, you're just like a different person. Like you can bounce back quicker. You're just a young spring chicken, like boom, 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 boom. And that's where I was with Maddie. But this time around, I'm not. So my girlfriend was like, you don't have to rush yourself, but also just be aware. Like be aware of where you are, be aware of where you want to be and the goals that you want to accomplish, whether that be emotionally, physically, whatever, but also, take your time. So for me, it's been like taking my time, but not too much time. So like this week, I've really felt good getting out. I felt good getting myself dressed. I felt really good, doing something to my hair, which, whew, that has been a struggle. Let me tell you, I'm trying to do, I don't consider myself a naturalista because I do believe in color my hair, which I may stop doing that. I don't know. And I also believe in like wearing my hair straight a lot. So I don't really like do like a whole lot of natural styles, even though I don't have a perm. But living in Houston, like it's just so hard to wear your natural hair without it getting like poofy and with the humidity. So that's random. But today I did like a little braid out, which did better for me than a twist out. So maybe that's going to be my go-to when I wear my natural hair. But anyway, I'm feeling better. So it's like last week I wasn't quite ready to re-enter the world and get all dressed and do XYZ. And that was okay. Like I feel like I took that time. Just diaper just out. Yeah. I took that time and that's where I was last week. Now this week, I'm making it a point to once a day get dressed, do something, and go somewhere. I'm making it a point to go back to the gym. I'm not setting any extreme goals for myself yet, but it's just about getting back into a routine because prior to this, what I was doing just was not serving me well. And I could totally see how people can fall into like this dark place if you don't take control or have people around you that can kind of see that in you and help you out of that and speak into your life and really give you good sound advice, because it's a real thing, one, what you're going through hormonal, and it's a real thing. It's a lot of changes. Like it's a lot of changes, and men will never, ever, ever quite understand. And I don't expect them to. The changes that you go through emotionally, physically, all of that when you bring life into this world. Like it's something about, there's a point where you had this life in you, inside of you, and now it has come out. There's an emptiness that comes with that. For me, I've experienced a certain emptiness that comes with that. And it is a physical emptiness as well as an emotional emptiness. Now this baby is here. So now you get to love on this baby and have this time with this baby, but you also have the weight and the responsibility that comes with that baby alongside this emptiness that you may feel. So if you don't navigate that well, and if you don't take the time to really process that, it's hard. And in a perfect world, which is kind of what Meghan Markle was saying, like, it's hard to deal with all the scrutiny she's dealing with as well as a newborn, because it's like life doesn't stop when you have a baby. So you have all these things you're going through, all these things you're feeling and dealing with physically, emotionally, every other way possibly. And then you still have life that's happening. So you still have all these financial responsibilities. You still have all these emotional responsibilities. You still have to be here for your husband. You still have to be here for your daughter. And, as much as you can, it's nice to disconnect from all those things when you can after having a baby. But most women honestly don't get to. That's just the reality. Like most women, still have to dive back into a certain level of everything else that they had to do before having this little baby. And that's just the reality of life for most people. A lot of women don't have the freedom to have a nanny that's coming in, taking care of everything else, and you just get to tend to your baby. Most people don't have that. Even for me, I have family here and I have a lot of friends here, and a lot of people have been so supportive with bringing food, sending food some kind of way. So many things people have helped with, which is a blessing. Like anytime you can help somebody, one, after having a baby, is with food. Like that's the biggest thing you could do, because sometimes just cooking dinner is a struggle, getting lunch is a struggle. So we've had a lot of that. We've had a lot of that support. But I'm also like, especially the first couple of weeks, didn't necessarily want like somebody in my house helping me like that. Like you're still kind of adjusting and learning so much about this little baby. So it wasn't even like, I would have wanted, like, let's say my mom to come stay with me or my mother-in-law to come stay with me. Like, that's not even really something you desire right after having a baby. For me, at least, I didn't. So, it's really about juggling all that, timing everything out, giving yourself the appropriate time, but also knowing when, okay, it's time to get up and start making some moves. And so that's where I am now, like, feeling really, really good, feeling encouraged and inspired to dive back into the world soon. I will probably be returning to work in a couple of weeks. I'm hoping maybe like another month and a half. But just taking it a day at a time. Like, I literally have a to-do list every day, and as much as I can get done, I get done. Like right now, I think I have like 7 items on my to-do list. I will probably knock out 2 today. And that's where I am. And I feel good with that. I feel much better with that progress than I did last week. So I just wanted to share that with you because everybody, is always asking, how are you? How's the baby? And we're great. Like, I think we are as great as we can be. We did have our first little scare last night. With her, I fed her, so she's doing really good sleeping through the night for the most part. She gets up once, if that, and sometimes it's like 5:30, 6 o'clock that she's getting up. So to me, that's really considered sleeping through the night. But she got up for a feeding, so I fed her, and then we were going back to bed. She's sleeping in our bed with us, but in the little DockATalk thing that you put like in between you and your hubby. If wherever you want to put it, I guess we put it in between us because it makes her feel still close enough, but she's kind of supposed to, it's supposed to help with like independent sleeping because it's kind of like sectioned off if you've seen those things before. So I had laid her down maybe like within 5 minutes, and I burped her and everything, but she started to choke, like I could hear her, and she actually threw up. And when we turned the light on, I could tell it had come out of her nose, which is the second time that's happened. That's never happened with Madison. So that kind of freaked me out. And it freaked her out. Like, you know how you feel when you go into water and just too much water gets in your face? I feel like that's where she was. And she just was having a hard time, like, getting it all out. So she struggled. Like, I don't know. We probably struggled with her for about 10 minutes with just getting her, like, passageway clear. So she had a lot of like fluid that was coming up, like spit, not even throw up, but just like spit. And it just took some time getting it, and that was kind of like scary because I was just thinking like, well, what if she was in her room and she wasn't loud? So I'm like, what if I wouldn't have heard her on the monitor? I'm like, that was kind of scary to me, but thank God she was with me, and she's still with me, and she'll probably stay with me until around 3 or 4 months. But other than that, we're doing great. We are taking each day at a time. So when it's nice, especially, I love Houston. If you're in Houston, I love the fall here because it's such beautiful weather. And when it's nice out, we definitely do our daily walks, which has been really nice. Sunlight is always good. And then if it's nice out, I've been trying to like actually go somewhere. So like today, we're going to go to a fall festival. Got her all dressed and ready. She's fed. She's taking her nap now, which she will probably sleep in the car because this is like her nap time. But so day by day I'm taking it easy, still not having her around a ton of people all the time, but she's 6 weeks now, so I feel like she can start doing a little bit more, and that's what we're doing. But pray for us and all the love, and pray for any new moms because it's real. It's the most beautiful. It's something so special about having a newborn in the house and a baby in the house, but it's also like some real struggles that you just kind of have to overcome and get through. And so, but I'm so excited. Don't want any more kids at this point, but I do love having her. I love her so, so much. And random side note, I am planning to do the MS 150 this year. If you live in Texas or surrounding areas, that is a bike ride from Houston to Austin. So if anybody has a team, let me know. Can you shoot me a message, either inbox me or send me a DM and let me know what team you're riding with. I would love to find a team. Me and my family and some friends are planning on riding this year. Again, I haven't done this. I did it once in 2014, maybe. Dang, that was 5 years ago. That's a while ago. But anyway, let me know if you have a team that you are riding with and that we can possibly join. That is very random side note. But I hope everyone has a great week. I hope you enjoyed this little episode. This is just like an extra bonus episode. We will resume the relationship series with next week's episode. And I already have my guests ready to go. And that's going to be a really good interview that I'm excited about. But I'm always excited about my interviews. I really am. They always bring me great joy. I got great feedback about the 2 relationship episodes so far. So thank you so much to those amazing couples. But I got some more couples coming, 2 more to be exact, maybe 3. I might have 3. I might stretch it 1 more. I wanted to do 4 weeks, but I might stretch it to 5 if I can get this one other couple that I love. But yeah, I hope you guys are continuing to enjoy that. So get caught up on that. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. list so you can make sure you get all the updates, because I do plan on sometimes I'll be doing more than one episode each week. So you'll be able to get notified when any of those episodes drop. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for listening and watching. Bye, girls. Bye. Say bye, Aubrey. She sleep.